departure, despite the illness of one astronaut and a 2-day extension. The crew completed 3 spacewalks and delivered Europe's first permanent space laboratory. So was it a mission accomplished for Atlantis? Kevin Shortt is a physicist with the Canadian Space Society, and he joins us now. So as the astronauts, Kevin, get ready to depart from the ISS, take us through how they're preparing to do that.
Well, essentially, they're looking at closing all the doors, cutting all the cables, cutting off the air supplies and whatnot to essentially make the physical separation between Atlantis and the space station.
Yeah.
So,
why do they have to do that a full day in advance?
because everything is very meticulously tracked and tracked, and as they unplug things, they got to make sure, oh, did you unplug that? Did you turn this switch off? All of these things, and they want to make sure that when Atlantis pulls away that there's not a cable dangling there.
Right, okay, and we can see them there, the crew, just talking away. Does this give you any indication of whether or not they've done all that, what they're doing right now?
Well, essentially, this is kind of a little farewell ceremony that they do every time that the shuttle separates from the space station, and they just kind of do their one last goodbyes, and they do their handoffs, and sort of say, you know, it's been a great mission, and this is what we've accomplished, and, you know, looking forward to getting back home, or looking forward to staying on orbit, whoever's going where.
Right. See you later. Farewell and adieu.
Much.
So overall, how significant was this mission for international space?
This was very significant, especially for the Europeans, because the Columbus module, which has been installed on the space station now, represents the largest component that Europe has contributed, and also represents the largest component that has not been built in the US or Russia. So essentially, it's the major contribution that Europe has made to the space station to date.
And remind us about this Columbus module. It's a science lab on the premises, right?
Essentially, yes. What it is it's a room where they're just going to do science experiments relating to life sciences, material sciences, and physics science, or physical sciences.
And you mentioned that it's significant because of Europe's contribution to this. Explain that a little bit.
Well, again, it was entirely built in Europe, largely from the funding of Italy, France, and Germany, and had to be shipped over to NASA, and where NASA got it ready, put it into the shuttle cargo bay, and then put into orbit. But that was essentially the only involvement that the U.S. had in actually integrating that Columbus module.
Oh, so it's good. The space program is expanding, getting more donors and participants.
Oh, for sure. And in the coming months, Japan's going to be involved. They're going to be launching their new module and getting their remote manipulator arm on board, so it's going to be expanding even bigger. So.
Now, yesterday the astronauts were joking a little bit as the U.S. prepares to shoot down this defective spy satellite that they weren't worried whatsoever. Now, is that founded? Should they not be worried?
Yeah, I mean, there isn't any reason to worry, largely because the shuttle's going to be long since on the ground by the time that they go and actually shoot it.
Okay.
So they're going to be flying over top of the satellite orbit anyways, so they're going to be safe on the ground by the time anything happens with the missile. So.
Okay. All right, Kevin. Well, good to talk to you. Thanks very much for this.
It was my pleasure.
And there is more news still ahead on this edition of CBC News Today, including your national weather forecast.
If you plan